Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I guess this is Thursday, maybe the 26th. This is Thursday, the 26th of October. And we're doing one of our final programs for this period. And this is a program that is, it's been necessary, but this program is to answer some basic questions. And in answering the questions, we want to give an idea of where we're coming from as a movement and as an organization, because many people don't understand the gravity of the situation that we're living in, the time, place, and circumstances the historical processes that are taking place today. So we just want to basically update everyone and also give an idea of basically why is all the fuss about us and what makes us so oppression-worthy and right. What makes us so, what are we doing that gives the government such a serious upset stomach? Yeah, they have serious upset stomach. So we're going to start with, we'll start with one of the pictures that you see all the time. Well, that's downstairs. This picture is a whole page out of the political paper in the Islamic Republic. And this picture, the only person on the front page with this picture was me, and then there was one of the Larijani brothers, the one that's in the parliament. Now I have a picture here with his brother from way back when he was at UC Berkeley. Of course, everybody has black hair there. This is Javad Larijani. Okay, you know, and so this is Said Rajai Khorasani, and this is one of the greatest ulama of the modern era. He don't have his turban on because you can see Niagara Falls back there. And for security reasons, they don't want, everybody was hating Iran at that time. This is in the early 80s, so you wouldn't want to have him walking around with a turban. Sheikh Safarazi, he don't have his turban on either. You know, that's Ayatollah Mahdavi Khani. He passed away a few years ago. Everybody in Iran would recognize him, of course. He was the head of Jaffa Sadiq University there, and during the time of Imam, he was head of the combatant ulama. That's the fighting alims. That was a party of the combatant ulama. But Imam Khomeini did away with parties. He didn't want to have different parties, because if you got different parties, it's going to be natural fitna, because you're going to join that party, they're going to join. And so they don't have parties in Iran, but they got cliques, like the reformist clique, and the hardliners, and all of those people, you know. Well, it's been 25 years ago that they lumped me with the hardliners, so-called. They lumped me with Sayyid Ahmad, that's Imam Khomeini's son. Y'all might have heard of Ayatollah Khalkhali, the hanging judge. There was a judge during the part of the revolution, you know, and Muhtashami. Muhtashami is the one that got his hand blew off. He was the ambassador to Syria. And Muhtashami is the one that, where there was troops would come through from Iran to Syria and hook up in Lebanon. Muhtashami facilitated a lot of that. So some of the brothers here would ease me the paper. So that means that they were the ones that's on the other team, the reformist, what would we call them? We're not going to call them any names, but they would be the diplomatic corps and all that. Now, in the beginning, we start off all friends, but when each organization has a newspaper like I say, so the so-called, now they call them the principalist movement. Doesn't mean that people follow the line of Imam. Okay, if they put me in that category, I ain't joined no club. I told them all, I support al-Faqih. I support the elected leadership of the Islamic Republic. I support the system of al-Faqih, because al-Faqih is the center of the Islamic Republic. If it's one thing that makes it the Islamic Republic, it's al-Faqih. Not the Congress, not all of them are good. The military, each organization is good. And that's what this article says. Al-Faqih is the protection against global fitna. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I want to go over a few of the lines that I was speaking over there. And it has right here the World Studies February the 16th and February the 15th. And it has the ayats and everything that goes along with it. So what I was telling them, and what made it so important, was that Iran is in a unique position. That Iran is acting correctly, the Shia community is acting correctly, and that the whole world of Saudi Arabia and others are pushing the world toward the Islamic Republic of Iran. Saudi Arabia developed Daesh, ISIL, Boko Haram, all of those crazy people. They were developed by what we call the Triangle of Terror. Okay, so when we went to Iran, we was giving them our view. And our view is this, is that the Islamic Republic has been blessed by Allah, that it's surrounded by global enemies, but they're also surrounded by, encircled by global friends. And that all the Islamic Republic had to do was maintain its focus on what it's doing. In those days, it was talking a lot about economic resistance and what have you. You know, economic resistance. That means that we would, or they would, develop an economy that's independent of the West. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that since they were always isolated and cut off, they naturally developed independent, different than Saudi Arabia and other people, especially people that got plenty of oil money. They would buy everything. But since the Islamic Republic was isolated and cut off from the mainstream of business, when you go there, they produce almost everything for themselves. And at first you produce a mediocre quality, then you improve, and then you go into export. Then when you look up and you look and see that in the early days Iran was isolated, it was cut off all alone, all by itself. That's the way it was. Very few friends. The only one that supported it was Syria. Everybody else in the Arab world was 100% against it. Okay, so therefore, since that was the reality, the Islamic Republic developed an independence. And in the early years, it couldn't buy weapons except they bought silkworm missiles 30 years ago from China, silkworm missiles, and they got other weapons, some of them from North Korea. The Chinese heavily in Iran from the 80s on up to right now. Okay. So now, because of the oppression of others, it made them independent. Because of the pressure of outsiders, it made them strong. Because of challenges and obstacles, it made them even stronger. Because of the blatant hatred, you got to remember in '87 they killed about 600 Hajis. And the year before last, I don't even know how many it was. Okay. So Iran is emerging, and you see in every newspaper, this last week, they bombed 2 Shia centers in Afghanistan, and they're bombing Shias and killing Shias all over the Muslim world all the time. But the Shias are not responding violently. This is warming the hearts of the people of the world. Who's doing the bombing? Of course, Daesh, Taliban, ISIL, well, let's not call them Taliban, let's call them Salafis. All of them are killing Shias. So there's a world of people that's developing kindness toward the Islamic Republic. And we can see what happened the other week or so with Donald Trump and not certifying the Islamic Republic. Who came out on their team? Everybody. Who's the nice people in the world? Peace-loving? Iran. Who's the warmonger? Good old Sam. You see, everything is going, and really, that what's happening to them is happening to us. We don't have to go out and do a whole lot. All we have to do is do the right thing. It's like the Hadith say, a small deed done regular is better than getting the Holy Ghost doing a big deed and then that's it for the next 5 years. The other thing is, all over the world, bombing, the killing in Yemen, right? So-called Houthis. Well, what does all that have to do with us? If we look up back maybe on the 4th page, we find the writing. Now you could see the date, but it's on the back side. You know, you can see 4/16/11. That talks about we gave this talk at the grassy knoll. You could see all of this backwards on this right here, where it says protracted struggle. Okay, now, of course, we have Israeli influence up there. This is the same time we're saying there will be no Arab Spring. Finished. And that the struggle is protracted. Long-range struggle. Over years and decades. Our struggle, we've been here, what, 21 years? 27 years. We came in '89. Is that 27 years ago? 28. 28. Good God, 28 years in D.C. 28 years in D.C. Good God Almighty. But now, Number one is protracted struggle. Number two, it has the outline. You see where it says step one, destabilizing. That means that in the world that we're living in at that time, this is outlining what we believe the situation is and where we're headed. Step one, destabilizing. It will destabilize the whole Middle East. Why? This is before Libya. This is right around the time of Libya, because we're given a lecture saying hands off Libya. It's a grassy knoll, do not invade Libya. They did it anyway. So their idea is destabilizing. What they're doing all over the Middle East is trying to reshape the Middle East in an image that they like. Reshape the Middle East in their in an image that they prefer. Okay, so step two, it'll be temporary transformation. Temporary transformation was like in Egypt, they had a short period. Remember that short period where Musa gets in the Ikhwan, and it's a temporary transformation. Of course, what we said is the same. Hey man, don't get hooked up with them people, because it's going to cost you. They did it anyway. The Ikhwan came over here and conversed with the government, and the government told them, oh, we with you, we know you Ikhwanis, they're nice people, and they got them all killed. Step three, organizing unity of opposition, semi-consolidation. Now, remember, this is forecasting something. These conditions don't exist. The only condition that exists then is that we see we're part of a long-range struggle. We're right in the beginning. This is 2011, and this is before the invasion of Libya. That's why we're talking at the grassy knoll saying, do not invade Libya. It was hands off Libya. So destabilization, temporary transformation. We done went through that. But nobody thought it was temporary. They thought, oh, Ikhwan is in there. They didn't know they was going to get hundreds of them killed. Maybe thousands. They thought what we're saying is temporary transformation. Why we say that? We say that because when an economy is so shattered, it's not hardly possible to fix it without a long time, a lot of resources, and almost dictatorial powers. And the other thing is the West, is the Zionists 100% against you. So they gave Ikhwan power. You take it. We told them, don't take it. Why not take it? This is what we always wanted. Remember the power? We got to gain power in Islam, and power this and power that. That was at that time. But at this time, we said, don't take power. This is the difference between us and them. They cannot differentiate between time lapses, time lags, and the transitional environmental circumstances. You see, to where if it's raining, you fight one type of battle. If it's desert and hot, you fight another. If you're fighting in the woods, in Vietnam, foliage everywhere, you can hide under everything, you can do all that. But if you're fighting a desert storm, right, you don't just roll those tanks out right in the middle of the desert and they can look at you from a satellite and push a button and knock you over like Iraq did, right, and Desert Storm. That was insanity. It's because the people do not have proper strategies, proper training, and they are not environmental or situational or nothing else. So now we're saying do not take that power. Don't take it. They took it anyway. But that's what's going to happen anyway. Allah hooked it up. So now we have organizing unity of opposition. What unity of opposition is that? Because in these days, the beginning, the good guys is all isolated. Let's take Iran, for instance. But now in step 3, what do we have? Remember we always talk about strategic alliance? Syria was just jumping in. This time they say, after they hit Libya, we're going to knock y'all a few months out. After this, Libya is done for. And a couple of months after that, we're going into Syria, and we're knocking it. What does that produce? The strategic alliance. Syria, Iran, Iraq, and as of 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, Russia. You notice when Russia started bombing, in 3 weeks the whole situation was different. And the U.S. was bombing Daesh for 2 years and they ain't hit nobody. Remember that? It was no reason. This is the only reason we're doing this is to show people how deep this is, because there's no reason for them. This is an analysis and a forecast of something that don't have has no reason for this to happen. I mean, there's no signs pointing in this direction. Nothing. That's how deadly it is. So number 3 now, we got organizing unity. The strategic alliance. Iran's not isolated anymore. Iraq is getting strong, right? Syria is teetering. It's going to go in a day or two. Here come Iran, here come Hezbollah. It ain't going nowhere. You see? Mm-hmm. Organizing. Unity. Organizing unity of opposition. The opposition against who? Zionist, American, Saudi terrorists. Remember, everything probably that would happen and that has happened in recent times, our enemy organized it for us. Everything we're dealing with, we didn't do it. They did it for us. We just responded properly. And the other thing is, Iran was crying about unity for 30 years before this. How come they can't get no unity? They got the exact unity that they needed. The exact unity. And now, won't be long, Syria's in pocket already. And they just wrapping it up, and then, of course, the West's gonna try to leave a few of their people behind, but that ain't gonna work. Okay, just like they tried to do with the Kurds, we'll get that little unity of our consolidation. The strategic alliance is consolidated. Number 4, regional vision. Now, look how the regional vision is shaping up right now. We already got Iran. We already got, what is the U.S. crying about? Iran's growing hegemony, right? There ain't no growing hegemony. They packing up everything and shipping it to Iran, right? The West, right? And stupid Saudis, they go pick on Qatar just at the wrong time. Qatar! And they camp, well, home folks, everybody, we all rich Arabs. You gotta do what we say, or I'm gonna knock you over. No, I ain't doing it. Well, you off? Well, I got two homeboys, new friends here. Turkey is a new friend of mine, and Iran. So, how's that gonna go over?
And I got big money too.
Yeah. And ain't nobody, they didn't just send boatloads, you didn't cut off all the roads and everything. Don't forget, there's two things that haven't happened yet. Bahrain and the eastern provinces of Saudi Arabia. Now, when this happened, all the experts are gonna come out. I told you, so you ain't told nobody nothing. Y'all ain't even mentioned it. We've been telling them that for years. Why has it gotta go? Because they won't sit down, they won't leave nobody alone. And Bahrain is 80% Shias. So that's not brilliant to call it, it's gotta go that way. And eastern provinces, that's 80, 85, 90% Shias. Just the Shia area of Saudi Arabia. Okay, now, regional vision. There was no reason for regional vision. They've been praying for it, and we got to all work together. Ain't nobody working together, but now you have regional structure. You have a strategic alliance. And the good team is growing stronger, and the other team is going broke and going weaker. And Saudi Arabia is spending all the money on Boko Haram, on all the bombs, killing. Look at the money they're spending to kill Yemenis. There's famine in Yemen. There's cholera. There's all kind of airborne, not too many waterborne diseases, but garbage-borne diseases, because they can't do anything. The people look like Ethiopia in the 80s. How? It's Saudi Arabia doing it. And remember, everything is obvious. The richest Arab country in the world, bombing and killing and choking off the poorest. Why? And Yemen ain't giving up nothing. They say, y'all must be crazy. You ain't gonna do all this and then come talking about we all right. You know? Yemen is a big, hey man, so Yemen, okay, regional vision. That means, now, I want to jump a little bit, because that regional vision is deep, man, and it keep on getting deeper. First of all, on here I have somewhere about those three empires here. I have Mughal Empire, Uthmaniyya, and Safavid. Now, this is a couple of years ago, right? And this is little hope notes. We want them to get, those are the three ancient Muslim empires. The Mughals in India and all of that, Taj Mahal, all the crew. And Uthmaniyya, the whole Ottoman Empire. Safavid dynasty is Iran, the Persian Empire. Okay, now, we're just on the, right next to it, we got imagination, visualization, self-esteem. Imagination. Imagine what? Imagine if those three empires could coalesce again, along with this regional vision. You can't do it. They can't do it. I can't do it. But, and I remember one of them is just acting crazy. Turkey used to be very friendly with Iran, go back before the Syrian thing. Then they start going crazy. But what do we have to do? We got to get everybody on the same team. So what do the U.S. do? They support the dear Kurds, right? Now, Kurds is all right. We support, at certain times, the freedom of peoples to choose their own destiny. So, here we got, did I give you? I guess I still got it here. Yeah, this is one of them. We got, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable how they work it. First of all, in Qatar, you have Turkey building a military base. Okay, then you have the Kurdish problem, because Kurdistan is that whole area touching Iran, touching Iraq, right? Touching Syria, and the biggest crew is Turkey. And technically the Turks oppress the Kurds, you know what I mean? Iran is better, I'm not saying they're Kurds, but they're treated better. But look what's going on. Here comes the U.S. The U.S., from the Iraq war on, is supporting Kurdistan and Iraq. And while war is going on in the rest of Iraq, Kurdistan is building fine buildings, and they done moved in on Kirkuk, and they're shipping oil, Iraqi oil, from their autonomous region through Turkey, right, to Europe and everywhere else. They doing good, better than anybody in Iraq. So when they gonna get Daesh now, they go, and they've been hooking up the Kurds, this is the Iraqi Kurds. They hook up the Iraqi Kurds. Then when the Iraqi Kurds, right, finish up their job, first of all, when the people run out of Iraq, they run out of Iraq because they're paid to run out. In Mosul and all those cities, they're just paid to run out by Saudi Arabia. That's who paid them. But now, this unity, here's what we got. To see how it's too complicated for me and you to pull it off. It has to be big players. Here comes Wonder Man, the United States of America. Boy, he's good. So he supports the Kurds to fight against Daesh and ISIL. Yeah, it's good. In northern Iraq and Syria. When they last couple of weeks ago, last month or so, when they get rid of Daesh, the Kurds say, well, we're going to have an election now, and we're going to be free from you guys. And we're going to keep Kirkuk, the Arab part, we're going to just keep all, because they done moved from Kurdistan down a whole distance, and they keeping that too. And we're going to have an election. And then I wish I could find it. I have it right here. They were so crazy, you won't believe it. Maybe I got it here somewhere. They was pushing the Israeli flag. Did I show you all that?
Yeah.
The Israeli flag. Here it is right here. This is only last month, maybe early this month. Here it is. Look at here. Long allied with Kurds, Israel backs statehood. Now, with all of this fitna